You are literally suffering together in this degree, and there's nothing that bonds us better than trauma. Failing is inevitable, it's going to happen at some point, but do not comfort yourself with a whole 50% mentality thing. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So if this is your first time coming to my channel, welcome. I'm Silibaziso, Mupereki, a professional nurse working in South Africa, and I create content about everything to do with university life, nursing school, and international student experiences. So if this is the type of content that you'll be interested in, definitely don't forget to subscribe down below. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the things that I wish someone had told me before I started studying nursing. So if you're starting your nursing career in the year of 2025, congratulations to you, and definitely comment down below so that we can welcome you to the professions. About 10 things that I want to share with you, advice that I would like to give you so that you're just knowing what you're getting yourself into when you're getting into the career, so that it's not a big shock to you when you get into nursing. Then I'm also going to be sharing apps that I think you need to download if you are in nursing right now. They're going to make your life so much easier, and also some time management skills that I think you need to learn. Obviously, this is all from different conversations that I've had from so many different nursing students that just asked me, hey, what advice would you give someone, and that sort of thing. So I just thought I should bring it all together in this one video. So yeah, definitely sit down, get a pen and paper, and let us get into it. The first advice is, I think a lot of educational content creators speak about you attending orientation. It is a perfect time for you to get to know the layout of the university, the college. Where do you find the library? Where do you find the bathroom? Just for you to get the landmarks of where the university is like. Because the first month trying to figure out UWs is huge, and you could have one class on one side of the university, and your next class is at the next one, and you need to be there within 5 minutes because your next lecture is about to start. So if you can just get that whole orientation week and just practice knowing where what is, it makes your life so much easier. Because also this is the time they introduce you to the library, to the computer lab, to the skills lab, to all the other labs for like your science courses and that sort of thing. So the more you're aware of where things are, the better it is for you. And by the way, there's no classroom called TBA, it just means to be advised. Trust me, I've also made that mistake of thinking that's a lecture hall. And also, this is the time when you're going to meet your fellow university students, whether they're going to be in your same course as you or not, it doesn't matter. This is when you're meeting people same age as you. You're both nervous, you're both just like, okay, what's happening? And obviously this is the time when you meet all your nursing professionals, because there's usually orientation for the university, and then there's also orientation for your actual course and degree that you're going to be studying. In most cases, the one for your degree is compulsory. But this is the time where you make friends. Trust me, you're going to need to make as many friends as possible, even though you might not end up studying the same thing, etc. But just knowing someone in another course, it helps you so much. Because the other thing that I noticed is students that were studying occupational therapy, physiotherapy, and nursing students. Our whole first year, most of our modules were quite similar, especially the human biology and your science modules. They were very similar. And sometimes like, I would know someone in the physiotherapy department and say, hey, can I just see how your past paper is looking like, and that sort of thing. And that just gives you an idea of what kind of questions you might get, because most of you will be doing similar modules. And also this is the time when you get to meet your peer facilitators. I'm sure in every university and college there's different names to what you call these peer facilitators, but it's just someone in an older year, and sometimes it could be in the same course as you or not, but it's someone who's been in this university. They know where what is, and if you get to know them, you befriend them, you get their number. Whenever you are stuck anytime during the first year, you can just message them, hey, I'm just stuck with this, can you help me out, or where can I get this and this and this. Then the second point is twofold: build your community and network. So I'll start with network because it relates to the first point. So networking means just getting to know people for the sake of knowing people and getting people's numbers. Just say people's numbers, or you can just, oh, girl that I met in the lounge area, or girl that I met in the library, or dude that I met by the printing shop, whatever. Just keep people's numbers, build as many networks as possible, talk to as many random people as possible, because these people know things, especially the older students that have been there for a while. There are no shortcuts on getting things done. And for me, that benefited me a lot. And then they just help you to link you to things that you might need. So building these networks will help you when you're stuck, you need assistance with something, or you're just confused about something. People that have been in the game for long, they know shortcuts. They know how to get things done, and they know who you can talk to. And having those networks, trust me, that'll help you in the long run. So it's important that you're building those networks. And secondly, you need to build your community. The friends that you have in university, in most cases, those will be your friends for life, because you are literally suffering together in this degree, and there's nothing that bonds us better than trauma. So, having friends that are going to be there with you, whether they're in the same course as you or similar, but just having someone that understands your experience. And for me, when a group called the Three Weirdos, that group is still there to this day. It's called the Three Weirdos because it was just the three of us. We were going through nursing together. We were not always in the same classes. Sometimes we were, but we held each other up, especially when we were all going through our own different personal issues. They would hold it down for me, especially when I was struggling with my university fees. I was not registered. I had no access to anything, but my friends would download stuff from the online platform and send it to me on WhatsApp, and I would still get work done as I was sorting out my stuff. Or if there was a death in the family, would tell my friends, you know what, go and sort out your stuff. We'll take notes for you. We'll take past papers and stuff for you, and we'll hold it down for you. So just having that community, trust me, it's amazing. Like you will have your core like community, and obviously you can have acquaintances. People that we know each other. We don't hang out, but we know each other. But having that community is so so important, because having that community, it obviously helps you to also widen your network. Because like with my friends, like we'll all be looking for past papers, and this one knows someone who knows someone from another year, and that person in another year would give us past papers, and it would eventually filter down to me. So just having that network helps us all to be sharing that network and our community. Like, for example, when I was working for my faculty, I could tell my friends, hey, if you need to get this sorted out, I can help you, or I know exactly who you can go to directly without going around in circles, etc. So, just having that community helps you to also improve your network. Because, trust me, it's not about what you know, but about who you know. So it's very important. It's also important for you to know your go to people within your different modules. So in most modules, you will have a hierarchy, or you will have the module coordinator, then you have the lecturers, then you've got your student council members, and then you've got your class rep that represents you, that sort of thing. So it's also important for you to keep a list and contact details of those go to people within that module, so that if you have a problem regarding a certain module or a certain thing, you know exactly who to go to. So yeah, you definitely need to learn how to befriend your lecturers, because if you're going to need extra tats, if your lecturers know you, they'll be able to assist you on when you're going wrong. So participate in class and that sort of thing. So yeah, definitely in building a community and your network is very important when it comes to university. Then the third thing that we should definitely discuss, especially in your first year university, is, are you sure about the course that you are studying? Because there were so many students that you studied with. Like if you always compare the stats with any course, those that you start with and those that you end with, the number tremendously decreases. And the thing is, we're getting into nursing because it's an easy career to get into. They didn't have any other choice, or they didn't get into medicine and that sort of thing. Or they get into nursing thinking, maybe I like it. It's not really a passion, but I think I'm good at it. And then now you discover the commitment and the work that is required into nursing. Like it's a lot trying to balance clinical placements and just the content that you have to study in nursing. So whatever course that you're doing, please be sure that you actually are sure about the course that you're doing so that you don't waste literally a whole year of university because you're not sure or you're trying to figure out what you're studying and that sort of thing. So it's important for you to be very sure about what you are studying. And I know sometimes they say you discover what you really want once you get into it. Sure, for some people it worked out because you could do a year in nursing and then you transfer to another course, like going into physiotherapy, OT, because your modules are similar and that sort of thing. Yes, in some cases it works out, but if you know that's not a thing for you, don't get into it and then waste all that time. Next thing that I wish I'd known sooner, I eventually figured it out when I was like halfway through second year. But hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. In most cases, the students that were getting straight A's or really high marks in high school, they get to that kind of mentality of, I can just wing it or I don't have to study as hard and that sort of thing. And when things get tough, they don't know how to adapt because they've just been so used to relying on their mind, which in some cases it does work. However, hard work will always surpass those that are brain smart because the thing is we work hard, like we put in the effort, we put in the hours to get the marks that we need, and also we know how to do our research, we know how to get extra resources, we know how to stay organized. And that's the thing that most top students actually end up getting right is organization is always going to be better than everything else, because if you're organized in how you set up your system, which I'll speak about later, how you set up your study routine, if you know what's coming up next week, next month, etc., you know how to plan your life accordingly, and you know how to prepare your notes, you know how to structure your notes, you always know how to plan and cater your life according to your future self, that you will never go wrong. For example, every single Sunday, I always made sure that I planned for the week ahead. That means I was never behind on exams, I was never behind on assignments, and I always knew which assignment to prioritize over another one because I knew when the deadlines were, the amount of credits that this exam or this module or this assignment might be worth, marks, etc. So if you know how to organize your life and how to stay organized in everything that you're going to be doing, trust me, that will work much better than trying to rely on your mind and your smarts for you to get through to university. University is honestly about organization. Then the next thing that I want to speak about is about setting systems. And there's a few things that I want to mention about that. One is you need to have a study routine. You need to know when you finish class, after you finish class, what are you doing? Are you studying the topic that you just did? Are you studying for the next topic? You need to have a system of how you're going to be studying because you don't want to be studying haphazardly. Also, you need to have a system on how to do your notes. Most people like to leave the notes closer to exam time or closer to the test time, and then now you're trying to gather your notes from this book and that sort of thing. Just have a system of these notes are kept here, this is how it's used and that sort of. But it's very important that you create a study routine for yourself, that okay, before class are you going through work, then during class what are you doing, and then after class what are you doing. Once you get yourself into that routine, it will be much easier for you to get into it than trying to force your body, because trust me, you're not always going to be motivated. But if your body just knows, okay, after class we're supposed to be doing this and this and this, you just naturally for into it. You might not be motivated, but you'll be disciplined enough to do it. Then other thing when it comes to creating a system is don't fall for the 50% mentality. I know in university we all like to comfort ourselves with this, 50% is a pass as long as a pass and that sort of thing. And the danger with that is you will never force yourself to do more than you're capable of, because I feel like we put a lot of limitations on ourselves when we tell ourselves, 50% is the past, and then you move on with life. You really can't be moving life on the bare minimum. I made a video about this bare minimum mentality, but it's important that you do not get sucked into that. Yes, there is going to be moments when you fail. Failing is inevitable, it's going to happen at some point, but do not comfort yourself with a whole 50% mentality thing. It doesn't work. Don't do it, because once you get into it, you stop putting all the effort because you just like, I'll just cruise with the 50% mark. And also, it's very, very scary to be having any professional that only know 50% of their work. I'm not expecting you to know 100, but if you're only going to be knowing 50%, that's a dangerous professional to be graduating as. Then the next thing is don't panic when you fail. I failed pharmacology, not the whole module, but it is. I also had to write a supplementary. It happens, okay? Those things just happen. But that's why I'm saying if you're going to be putting in the effort the rest of the time, when you do fail, then your CAM mark or your continuous assessment mark will catch you and it will help you. But if you've got 50%, if you fail, then there's nothing that's going to carry you or nothing that is going to save you if you're putting in the bare minimum. But if you do fail, don't panic. It's normal. Just know your network and who to get the help that you need. And then the third thing is seek help before it's too late. Most of us, we like to put in extreme measures when we have failed, but keep track of your mark so that you know what's the trajectory of your mark. That's why a lot of A students, if they get a low mark than they were expecting, then they'll put in efforts immediately. Okay, I'm speaking to my lecturer. What did I do wrong with this test? Okay, speaking to my friends, maybe changing up the way you study. But as soon as you see that the effort you put in and the outcome that came you're not happy with, it means that you need to change something. What's that saying that they say? Something about foolishness is doing the same thing twice and expecting a different outcome. So if you're doing something and you're getting the outcome that you do not want, then change something and improve it. And then past papers. Guys, past papers will save your life, especially for your first exams. You need to find people that are going to get you past papers. I've also made a video about how to create past papers for yourself. I also have a Google Drive. I'll link it down below where you can get a few of the past papers that I had when I was doing my course and that sort of thing. But it's important for you to do past papers because past papers help you to train yourself on how to answer questions or the type of questions that you might receive for your test, so that when you get into your exam venue or when you're doing a simple test that you're not shocked by the way that they ask questions, because the more comfortable you are with how questions are asked and how to answer it, the better it is for you. A lot of people failed the first few exams of nursing because we all didn't know how to answer it. The sixth advice that I'd like to give you is that you need to have a hobby outside of your schoolwork. And the reason for this is nursing has, or university in general, has a tendency of like sucking us into like this wormhole where it's just school assignments, deadlines, etc. And honestly, it's not good for our mental health. Having a hobby outside of our schoolwork or outside of university is it allows us to be able to have something that allows us to de-stress. We need to be thinking about something else to free your mind. It also helps you with creativity. It helps you to be able to better understand the information when you go back to it. So it's very important that for you to have a hobby. For me, that was working for the community health faculty, and also content creation was part of it. But for you, that could be gym, that could be joining a society, whether that's choirs, soccer clubs, etc. But just having something outside of your schoolwork that is going to help you to de-stress. And then the last thing that I want to say is that comparison helps no one stay in your lane. It can be very tempting for us in university to compare each other, whether that's based on marks, whether that's based on mental capacity, whether that's based on, oh, this person has an iPad, I don't have one, or this person has this iPhone and that sort of thing. Just stay in your lane. There's no need for you to compete with anyone about what they have and what you don't have. You're all there to get a university degree. So make sure that you're getting a university degree and moving on. Every other thing is none of your business. You do not need to be there. So when I know the reason why you came to university and focus that there's so many students that have been led astray, whether that's boyfriends, friends, etc., because you're all trying to be something that you're not. Know the reason why you're in university and focus on that. And I know it might sound, oh, that's so uncool, or that's so boring and whatnot. It's okay. Be the boring person where you know you are focused on your studies, get your qualification in record time, and then move on. And then now you can start getting all the things that you need. And then also now coming to the note taking system. So the note taking system that I had is with each module it varied because each module requires a certain way of thinking, and as a result you just have to figure out. But there's different ways to make notes. I have actually made a video about this before. So the format or the structure of how I'd make these notes would now obviously depend on the module that I'm doing it for. So for my human biology modules, I usually like to do mind maps because it's a lot of concepts and I sort of wanted to see how they all came together. Then for general nursing science, especially when it came to diseases, I would also make mind maps because the mind map will help you to see, okay, what is the disease, what are the signs and symptoms, what is the pharmacological management, what is the non-pharmacological management, and mind maps help with that. Also, tables was another form that I used, especially when it came to bones and muscles and the way that they move and that sort of thing. Then when it came to things like mental health and what's the other module, psychiatric nursing, there was a lot of theories, so I just summarized in bullet points, and that was the way of doing my notes. So each module or each topic will require you to write the notes in a certain way, so whichever one makes you understand better is best. So that's why it's important for you to know different ways of making notes, and then you can choose the appropriate one depending on the topic. So my system was the day before the lecture, I'll go through the material because most lectures were really nice. They'd give us the materials beforehand so that you can go through it. So literally take 10-15 minutes just to go through the information to see, okay, this is the topic that we're going to be covering on this day's lecture. So that when you get into the lecture, you know what you're supposed to be focused on. And then now I'm in the lecture, okay, I'm looking through the material, we're going through the material, whether I've printed it or I'm just taking notes on a slideshow. Okay, I'm taking notes of what the lecturer is saying. I'm adding a bit of information here and there from what the lecturer is saying in class. Then after that, then I'll go through my textbook to see the similarities or differences between how the PowerPoint was created and how the textbook is like. If there's a few things from the textbook that I think would be beneficial for me to add to my notes, then I would do that. Then I'll create a set of new notes. And this set can either be written or typed, but typing is easier because the PowerPoint you can just copy and paste. Where I'm now combining what is in the PowerPoint, taking out all the useless information, what is in the textbook, adding it in, also what my lecturer said, and if I've watched the YouTube video, also adding it in. So that my full set of notes for that lecture, when I'm going to be studying it, it's a combination of everything. So that I don't have to look for other resources when I'm studying. I know I'm just focused on the notes that I have in front of me because it's everything that I need to add for that lecture point. It really saves you time later on so that when it's exam time, you just focus on studying and you're now not trying to pull information from all these different resources. So now we're just going to move on to the essential apps that I think all first year nurse or nursing students need, then nursing supplies, and then I'll finish off with time management skills. So, firstly, the essential apps that you absolutely need. Number one, you need Jesus. I could not have gotten through nursing school if I didn't have God behind me, backing me up. The amount of blessings that I had during my nursing career, it was just beyond me. Whether that was blessings through my financial situation, getting the marks that I needed, etc. He was just there for me. As much as we had some disappointments like applying for scholarships, told you getting it, and then it just goes to, and that sort of thing. There's been disappointments, but through it all, he's been there. He's just been showing me the mercy that he has for me, and trust me, you need Jesus. Yeah. So the next thing that you need is the Grammarly website built in. What do they call it? It's like a tab where it helps you to correct to English. So whether you're going to be writing emails, whether you're going to be doing any online test, it helps you to correct to English so that everything you're going to be saying is going to be in proper English. So that's a very good tool to have. The next one is you need to have the tab called My Bib or My Bibliography. So this extension allows you to be able to reference any website that you go to. So let's say, for example, you're in the middle of doing a research for a project and you're going to so many different websites and you need to keep track of all these references. You literally just go to the website and then you click the icon on your browser and then it creates the reference for you. And then you can change whatever format that your university uses, whether that's Harvard referencing, whether that's APA, etc. This was especially important for me when I was doing my research final project in final year. Like, if I had known this in first year, it would have saved my life because it's so easy. You literally go on the website, it does it for you, and then you move on with life, and then you just continue what you're doing. So that's a very important one to use. And then the other one, it's not really an app, but this kind of book. So this is a very old book that I have. Don't mind the sports person.
Suarez in the strike for Neymar. Neymar! Genius from Neymar!
But books that have these kind of tabs. So you see mine is color coded. It's got a blue, then it goes to purple, then it's this color and that sort of thing. Yeah? And there's actually other different um versions where it's just divided into four and then there's actually tabs that you can use just to open. And the reason why these books were very useful for me is I only had to carry one book. I had one that had 6 sections. So I would know that this section is just for human biology, this section is for practicals, this section is for the small, etc. So I only have one workbook to carry. Because I've seen so many students trying to carry 4 different books for all their different modules, but just having one worked for me because then after I get home, then like the system that I mentioned where I'm taking the notes from the class, the PowerPoint and what the textbook says, and then I'm combining it into something else. Then I'll just know that this book I'm keeping it for the notes that I'm taking into class, so that I'm only carrying one book. So that was just something that I also think would be very useful for you guys. And then the last thing is the app called Notion. Like I live, breathe Notion. Like everything in my life right now revolves around Notion. And now they even have the cool thing of having a calendar. So this app honestly it's got so many cool features, like you can create tables, you can create pie charts, you can create boards. The way that you can structure your notes is so amazing. And the way that you can do study notes, like you can add pictures, you can add videos, you can add audios all in one. So if you're someone who likes to do digital notes, trust me, Notion will save your life. And even if you're not someone who likes digital notes, but the way that you can structure it and you can just print it after, I just love it. It's a really good tool. I'm not sponsored by them anymore, but it's just been something that I've been loving for the past 6 years now that I've known about them. Definitely give it a try. Then there are nursing supplies that you need to have. I do have a video already of the nursing essentials that you need, from uniforms to shoes, etc. But the three main things that I honestly think you need is scissors, a multicolored pen, and a notebook. Like that's all you need. I think my bag for work. Oh yeah, no, there's not on it. Literally, I live, breathe these pills. Like I literally have two. That's how crazy it is. I mean, you can have the rulers and all of that, but that's not really important. Then obviously you need scissors. Like when I do not have a scissors on that day, like I leave it at home or whatever, like it's just frustrating. Like it seems like the day you don't have a scissors, then you have so many things to cut. So it's very important that you have a scissors, and then you need a notebook. Like I've had this notebook for the longest time. Like let me see. Yeah, like literally everything. Yeah, I think this was training that we did on IV lines. Um, yeah, this is advice sheets for health education, what potassium chloride does. Like, there's so many notes of things that I just need to reference when I'm at work. So it's very important. That's the only 3 things that you need. Then obviously you can check out the video that I did already of all the nursing essentials that you need. And then the last tip is time management for nursing students. I've been asked this question a lot of times of how did you manage your time with placements and all of that? My week always starts on a Sunday. Even now that I'm a working professional, Sundays are very important for me. Like if I don't have a Sunday off where I'm just at home sorting out my life, like that week it just ends up being chaotic. So Sundays, I call them my Sunday prep days. And the reason for this is I would take a look at my calendar for each module and figure out, okay, do I have a test this coming week? Do I have an assignment that's due in the next week or in the next 2 weeks? Is there any questions that I want to ask my lecturers? What lectures am I having? What skills lab sessions are we having? So that I start planning out my life on this day. Okay, I've got this lecture. Then in that same moment, I will also now go on a Canva, which was our online platform, to see, do I have any lesson plans released yet? Is any PowerPoints released yet for the upcoming week, so that I can start doing my reading? Sometimes it's not there, sometimes they release it the day before, sometimes they release it after class. Just depending on how that lecturer functions, I'll prepare according to that. So Sunday was just about preparing my life, and also if I'm preparing meals, if I'm going to be going for skills lab, is there a day that I need to bring my lab coats and that sort of thing. So Sundays are very important for just organizing your life. And then Mondays and Tuesdays is obviously lecture days. So that's now following the system that I had, where the day before, sometimes even an hour before the class, I'm just reading through the material for the day. And then sometimes I'll also print the PowerPoint lectures if I'm going to need them in the lecture. Then during the lecture, I actually focus and pay attention so that I can get everything that I need to get from that lecture. Because trust me, your lecturers will give you the hints of, this will be in the test, or oh, this is a very interesting question, oh, this is a very interesting section. Those type of things, it means that it's going to be in your exam, it's going to be in your test. So making sure that I'm taking note of all of that. Then usually I would have, I think it was 2 hours of human biology, 2 hours of chemistry, and whatnot. But I never had a full day where it was just lectures back to back. There was sometimes an hour, sometimes 3 hours before my next lecture and that sort of thing. So those breaks in between, I would go to the library or I'd go to a computer lab, and then now I'm putting my information together. Okay, in human biology today we're speaking about the bones. Okay, how can I structure my notes about the bones? And also because I didn't buy textbooks, they were just too expensive with all my whole financial situation in university. I couldn't afford to buy textbooks, or those that were not compulsory, I didn't buy them. So then I'd go to the library, take the library books, then gather all the information that I need to get about that topic from the library. Then I condense it into one document for all the notes that I have for that lecture. And then obviously when I get home, I make sure that everything is done. Then obviously if now there's any projects that I need to start, if there's any tests that I need to start, then I'll be doing that when I get home. And also because I had a long commute time, so sometimes if I'm commuting a lot, that was when I was now editing my videos, I was scripting my videos, I was going through PowerPoints for the next day. So whatever small time that I had, I made sure that I got stuff done. There was actually a story, or what do they call them? Those used WC alumni emails and that sort of thing, where it was a story of a guy who was getting like straight A's, and they were asking him like, sort of, what system do you have? He was like, I treat university like a job. I come to class at 8, I leave at 4. So during that time, I must make sure that I'm getting everything done. After that, he gets home and he does other things that are not university. So if you can try to accommodate your life like that, trust me, it makes life so much easier for you, and also you get more done. Okay, so that's Monday and Tuesday, that's the lecture story. And then on Wednesdays it was tutorials and practicals. So tutorials, it would be after each human biology lesson we had questions that we had to answer. So I'd make sure those are completed before the actual touch. So that will be done on a Tuesday. And then also prepare for my practicals, making sure that I have my lab coats, making sure that I have my practical manual and that sort of thing. And then Wednesdays is the practicals. Sometimes we'd have a test, sometimes not. And then Thursday and Fridays was skills lab. So making sure that when you're in skills lab, you are focusing on skills lab, the skills that you have to do and that sort of thing. So making sure that every single time that you're in class, you're using that time to the fullest, so that you don't have to use any extra time to do what you're supposed to do in class. Then obviously on the weekends, Saturday, I go to church. So Saturday I don't touch anything to do with school and sort of that thing. And then Sunday, if there's anything that I had to catch up on, like I didn't finish a tutorial, there's a few questions that I didn't manage to get, or there's notes that I didn't manage to get to during the week and that sort of thing, then I'll use Sunday to catch up on that and also prepare for the following week. Then on the weeks that we had clinical placement in a hospital setup, make sure that you are fully present there so that if there's anything that you need to learn, you learn it. I feel like 60, okay, 60% is a lot, but like at least like for 30 to 40% of the studying that you have to do within nursing, you actually get it done when you're in the clinical placement, because the things that you're learning in class, you are seeing it every day. And I'm a very visual learner, so when I was now in clinical placements, I'm like, oh yes, that bone that we were talking about, okay, cool, okay, we're talking about deltoid muscle, I'm giving injections in the muscle. Okay, this is not first year, obviously I'm not giving injections in first year, but now it would make sense when I'm seeing what the sisters are doing. We're now doing vital signs. You're now, okay, the normal ranges and this and this and this. Everything is coming together now in clinical placements. So I always made sure to be fully present. Even if I was tired, I don't feel like being in clinical placement, I was always there. Because other thing is within our year, whereas we had clinical hours. I know there's some universities or some colleges that don't focus on clinical hours, or the clinical hours are not as stressful as it was for us. But for us, getting those 4,000 hours before you graduate, it was a lot of pressure for us. So I always made sure that I never miss a clinical placement. Like even if I'm close to death, I'll always make sure that I'm at class. And I know it's a bit of toxic way to do it, but I felt like it was better for me to be there and not fully present than not to be there at all, because obviously I need my hours, because obviously if you miss clinical hours, then you must sacrifice another day out of your life to catch up on that and that sort of thing, which was also very unnecessary. So yeah, so that was my system on time management, making sure that every single free time that I had, each time after class, I always made sure that I get things done and I stick to my systems. So this is all the advice that I can give you as someone about to enter university or about in the first year of doing your nursing programs. If it is your first time in 2025 doing your nursing degree, please comment down below and let us know where you're going to be starting from. And to my subscribers, if you're no longer in first year, what advice would you give to someone in first year, or something you wish someone had told you before you started studying this career? So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Until next week, Friday at 12 p.m. South African time. Have an awesome one. Bye guys.